The film opens as two teenagers are exploring an abandoned psychiatric hospital. They joke around as they reach the 4th floor of the building. They finally reach their destination, which is room 402. They make a statement to their friends for challenging them to enter the room. One of them then starts to break the door, but suddenly they hear noise from behind them. The camera then slowly reverses to show what looks like a man looking at them through one of the patient's rooms. The film then cuts to a YouTube channel called Horror Times. The host, Ha Jun, explains that the figure captured on the camera is not fake, and we also see that the two teenagers went missing and never have been heard of since then. Ha Jun announces that as his channel is dedicated to exploring paranormal activities, he has planned to investigate the psychiatric hospital as it is ranked number 7 among the most haunted places on Earth. Ha Jun then gives us a backstory of the place. The hospital was opened in May 1961, and it was the best mental hospital in Korea at that time. But it was closed in October 1979 due to a mass suicide of patients and the disappearance of its director. Ha Jun explains that the hospital, named Ganjiam Asylum, still stands despite being abandoned. We then see an old footage of the place as the director of the asylum, Park Young-ae, is receiving a grand prize for her achievement of treating mental patients, prisoners of war, and even brutal criminals. Ha Jun explains the rumors surrounding Ganjiam Asylum. Some say that the asylum was built on the place where the Japanese brutally murdered and buried the Korean resistance so that nobody could trace the body. Some even suspect that the asylum was a national torturing facility in the 60s and 70s disguised as an asylum. Or it is also suspected that the mass suicide was carried out by the director herself, who then took her own life and is not missing. Ha Jun says that there are countless reports of ghost sightings and hearing of wailings after the closure of the asylum. And the biggest rumor among all is room 402, the only locked space in the asylum. Some even say that whoever dares to open the room is cursed to death. Ha Jun says that he and his team will be exploring the asylum on October 26th, the day the asylum was closed, and will uncover the truth about the supernatural phenomena and the ghosts many people witnessed. We then meet a woman named Jae Hyun as she waits for the team to gather. After a little while, she is joined by 2 other women, Ayeon, who is a nurse, and Charlotte, who is Korean American. Then Ha Jun arrives with his 2 other teammates, Seung Wook and Sung Hoon. They then wait for their other teammate, Ji Yoon, who got lost trying to find them. The group then goes to a restaurant to eat, and Charlotte says she has been to 3 suspected haunted places on Earth. They discuss about people who entered the asylum all heard the sound of ping pong balls, and they say that the director hung herself in her bathroom, and rumors say that her neck was stretched for a foot long. The group then makes fun of Ji Yoon for being scared. Ha Jun reveals that he has planned to livestream their experience and reach over 1 million views, surprising the group. The group spends the day playing games and bonding with each other. The next day, the group makes their way to Ganjiam Asylum. On the road, they talk about 3 high school girls who went to the asylum but were later found unconscious while they tried to enter room 402 and were taken to hospital. Later, 2 of the girls went crazy and jumped off a building to their death while the third one never regained consciousness. Ha Jun reveals to the group that the climax of their experience is going to be to open and enter room 402. The group then rolls their GoPro camera to decide the one who opens the door, and it stops on Ji Yoon, who refuses and says they manipulated the game. Later, the group reaches an empty village and finds the front entrance of the asylum barricaded. Ha Jun says they will get in through the back entrance and says that police patrols are even guarding the place at night. The group then makes their way around the asylum through an empty forest. They then gather their equipment and continue their journey on foot until they get close to the asylum. They then build a tent outside the asylum where they set up their equipment inside to monitor the live stream. Soon it gets dark, and Sung Han and Seung Wook go to the asylum to install CCTV cameras inside. They finish installing the cameras and return to the tent. The group then prepares noodles where they dine together before they begin the live stream. The group also brought an EMF, which can detect ghost or spirit activities. They then get a GoPro each, which can record both their face and POV at the same time. The group then makes their way to the asylum, while Ha Jun stays in the tent to monitor the live stream. As they make their way to the asylum, they come across a dirtied woman's underwear. They tied the underwear on a tree branch to mark their path in case they get lost in the forest. Back at the tent, Ha Jun has started the premiere and already has over 12,000 viewers. He tells the group that they will start the live stream in 5 minutes. They finally reach the asylum, but before they enter, they hear police sirens nearby and they cover up their lights to evade the cop. The group finally manages to reach the back door and they start to make their way inside. They then see a text written on the door that reads, "Enter and you will die." Ha Jun then begins the live stream, where the group shoots the intro and makes their way inside the asylum. They first explore the hallway on the 2nd floor and make their way to the reception room. Charlotte then pours holy water into a small bowl, and they put a camera near it to record its reaction. Seung-wook then starts briefing the viewers about the surrounding, when suddenly, a door behind them forcefully closes, freaking them out. Seung-wook tells the viewers that the door of the director's office has closed by itself and says they are going to check it out. They enter the director's office and find an old picture of her where she is sitting in the middle of her patients. They also find a picture of her winning the award and playing ping pong. As they speak, they hear a banging from the ceiling and find what looks like a hair protruding. Seung-wook then tells the viewers that they will continue exploring the first, third, and fourth floors of the building before Ha-jun starts playing replays as the rest of the group gets into position. Charlotte and Jae-hyun then go to the first floor where they introduce themselves to the viewers as Charlotte spray paints her name on the wall. They see another spray paint on the wall which reads "Let's Live." They continue to explore the first floor until they reach the laboratory. They enter the laboratory and find numerous medical papers and a bunch of medical tools scattered on the floor. Jae-hyun then sees a doll sitting on one of the shelves. As Charlotte goes to pose for a picture, she breaks a bottle, revealing a rotten carcass of a chicken. The two then freak out and leave the laboratory. Ha-jun then moves the live stream to Ji-yoon and Ah-yeon, who are exploring the third floor of the building. They find a broken ping pong table and go exploring the shower room. There, they see what looks like a human shadow on the wall. Ji-yoon then goes deeper into the bathing room and quickly freaks out to find what looks like a human in the tub. But Ah-yeon takes it out and reveals that it is just a wig. Ha-jun then moves the live stream back to Jae-hyun and Charlotte, who is now on the fourth floor of the building. They give an introduction about room 402 to the viewers, and Jae-hyun explains that many who came before them tried to open the door, but all of them failed and later got into a horrible accident or fell into a coma. We then see Seung-wook attempting several methods to open the door, but he ultimately fails. Jae-hyun and Charlotte then tell the viewers that they will be opening the door soon. Back at the tent, Ha-jun sees that they have reached over 55,000 viewers. The group then gathers at the director's office, where they have already set up equipment to perform a ritual. The group then begins the ritual to invite the spirits out, but becomes terrified when the strings with the bells that they had set up start to shake and fall off. The group runs out of the room screaming. The group then takes a break as Ha-jun begins playing a replay of the ritual to the viewers. Ha-jun then privately calls Sung-hoon and Seung-wook, and unbeknownst to the other four, the whole ritual scene and the door closing by itself was staged by the two as a way to attract more viewers. Seung-wook then asks Ha-jun how many viewers they reached, and Ha-jun tells them that they have already passed 100,000 viewers. He tells them that they need to do everything right to reach 1 million views. Back at the tent, the stove behind Ha-jun suddenly starts on its own before he turns it off. Then suddenly his monitor started glitching before the lights went out. After a while, the lights get back and the computers return to normal. The group then continues exploring and goes back to the laboratory room. Upon their arrival, Charlotte and Jae-hyun are shocked to find that the doll has moved from the shelf. The group discovers it is the same doll held by one of the patients in the group photo. Seung-wook then picks up the doll, freaking Charlotte out. She leaves the room crying and screaming while the others follow her. Once all of them left the lab, Seung-wook and Sung-hoon with Ha-jun laughed at Charlotte's reaction. The group finally manages to calm Charlotte down, and she warns Seung-wook to never touch things from the place again as it might be cursed. Ji-yoon and Ah-yeon then go to the fourth floor to try to open room 402, while the other four explore the group treatment room. There, they see many strange coffins, where the patients were kept for treatment. Seung-wook then puts his hand inside a hole in a coffin and fakes his hand being pulled. And from the tent, we see that they have reached over 200,000 viewers. He tells the viewers that he is going to put his hand in the coffin again to know what pulled his arm, and both Charlotte and Jae-hyun stop him from doing so. Jae-hyun then puts in her hands instead, but this time she actually gets pulled. The group manages to pull her hand out to reveal that her arm has been wounded with claw-like scratches. The coffin door then slowly opens before Charlotte's scarf gets blown up. The group, terrified, flees. Ah-yeon and Ji-yoon hear their scream from the fourth floor as they install infrared lights on the ceiling. Back at the group, Charlotte and Jae-hyun are freaked out more when they find the text which they came across earlier has changed from "Let's Live" to "Let's Die." Too disturbed by what they witnessed, Charlotte and Jae-hyun decide to leave, despite Seung-wook and Sung-hoon's protest otherwise. Seung-wook and Sung-hoon demand answers from Ha-jun about what's going on, but Ha-jun, not wanting to end the show, lies and says that the text was written "Let's Die" the whole time. He tells them that they have already passed 300,000 viewers and tells them they need to keep going. But both Seung-wook and Sung-hoon cut off their communication with Ha-jun to talk privately, making Ha-jun angry. Outside, Charlotte starts to freak out, saying she might be cursed since "Let's Die" was written under her name. Jae-hyun calms her down to continue their journey back to the tent. Back at the asylum, Seung-wook and Sung-hoon check out the footage of Charlotte's scarf blowing up and see it was not a wind, Sung-hoon suggests they leave, but Seung-wook says they should negotiate with Ha-jun to increase their cut to 30% because 300,000 views can generate up to $150,000, and they can get $40,000 each. Back at the tent, Ha-jun checks out the replays and sees a video where all 6 members are in shot, even though no one is holding the recording camera. Then suddenly, the lights went out again, enraging Ha-jun. The computer glitches again and turns back on. Then Seung-wook and Sung-hoon propose their offer to Ha-jun to increase the whole crew's cut. Ha-jun looks at the view and sees that it has surprisingly reached over 700,000 views. Ha-jun then agrees and warns them to never cut off their communication again. Outside, Charlotte and Jae-hyun continue walking back to the tent, but end up being caught in an illusion as they encounter the underwear marker more than once. Back at the asylum, Seung-wook and Sung-hoon continue exploring the building and go to the shower room, but start to hear noises coming from the other rooms. Ha-jun then orders them to go to the supply room. Once they reach the supply room, Seung-wook starts to brief the viewers about the room when suddenly they see a wheelchair moving by itself. They both get scared and are left speechless, but Ha-jun forces Seung-wook into saying his line. As they continue briefing the viewers, the door shuts close, freaking them out. They turn to the room to find all the objects floating in the air before they come crashing down. Then the objects start to throw themselves around, hitting Seung-wook in the head and knocking him out. Sung-hoon tries to wake him up, but the door behind him opens and he gets pulled out. He escapes and tries to run back into the room, but the door closes and he gets thrown back, knocking him out too. Outside, the two are still stuck in the illusion with no way to escape. Charlotte then begins to smell something and looks down to find the rotten chicken from the lab with all of the equipment on the ground. She looks back up to find Jae-hyun in a trance. Suddenly, her eyes open with black sclera as she begins muttering some words. Charlotte's scarf then gets pulled up, hanging her. She manages to escape and runs off. Charlotte finally reaches the tent and quickly enters, but it is dark. She turns on her flashlight and finds that she is back at the asylum. She looks around and sees Jae-hyun standing in the corner. Charlotte then looks down to find the same doll from the lab sitting by her feet. She then looks back up to find a creepy naked man standing in front of her. Charlotte then slowly walks to the door and the naked man follows her. She tries to open the door, but it is locked. Then Jae-hyun's possessed form appears again, muttering some words. Charlotte screams and attempts to open the door, but suddenly all went quiet, and Charlotte looked back and the naked man charged at her before he pulled her into the darkness. Sung-hoon then regains consciousness and runs to Ah-yeon and Ji-yoon, who are still trying to open the door to room 402. He finally reaches them and tries to make them leave, but Ha-jun sees that they are about to reach 1 million views. He calls Ah-yeon and tells her to open the door and get in, but Shun-hoon takes the phone away. He tells them about staging the ritual and the doll at the lab, but tells them that everything that is happening now is real. He tells them that Seung-wook is trapped in a room and they need to save him before he dies. Back at the tent, Ha-jun becomes enraged and takes a GoPro and a drone with him before heading out to the asylum to finish the stream himself. Suddenly, they hear the sound of the ping-pong ball coming from the hallway before it comes bouncing toward them. Then the door handle of room 402 starts to move before they hear Charlotte screaming from inside. The infrared cameras start to flash as the sensor detects a presence. The door of 402 opens and the screen goes dark. Outside, Ha-jun runs toward the asylum. He flies his drone up in the sky and sees what looks like a mental patient going crazy through one of the asylum windows. Despite what he saw, Ha-jun continued running toward the asylum. Sung-hoon, Ji-yoon, and Ah-yeon find themselves trapped in a dark room with no exit, standing in knee-deep water. They look above them to find water floating. Then suddenly, a hand starts to come from behind them. Sung-hoon takes his camera out and turns the night vision mode on to look around the room. He is shocked to see what looks like a little girl standing on the corner. He looks again and she has gotten closer. When he looks for the third time, the camera starts to glitch before revealing a bunch of patients lined up as they face toward the wall. The three start to panic before the hand comes behind Ah-yeon and possesses her. It then comes behind Ji-yoon and possesses him too. Sung-hoon gets left out before a bloodied woman appears in front of him and possesses him too. The camera falls to the ground as all three get swallowed by the darkness. Through one of the CCTV cameras, we see the shower all opening by themselves before the camera pans to the right as it detects a motion. Ha-jun finally reaches the 4th floor and enters room 402 to finish the live stream. As he records around the room, he sees the drone recording him through the window. Then suddenly, a floating body comes from behind him and hits him in the back. Shaking, Ha-jun flips his camera to see the director's body floating as if hanged and looking possessed. The demon then picks him up and strangles Ha-jun until he is dead. The drone then flies by itself until it crashes and falls. Regaining consciousness, Seung-wook finds himself strapped to a wheelchair. The wheelchair slowly rolls toward room 402 by itself, and Seung-wook cries out for his teammate. He sees various ghosts through the patient's door as they all mutter and scream some words. Seung-wook is then pulled into room 402 before the door closes. The live stream ultimately fails, with viewers dropping and claiming the broadcast to be fake. The ghosts in the computer background then slowly stand up before disappearing. In the epilogue, the bowl of holy water starts to boil, implying holy water has the effect of repelling demons.